What's up, Gigatrads and Tracy's? Today I wanted to talk about renewable energy and how do we actually implement it into society harmoniously. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this is it's not in the headlines or anything like that, but it is affecting my family personally, because many of them live out in a rural area, and they've grown up there all their lives, and they're watching as like these beautiful pastures that had cows and very idyllic bucolic countryside now are full of solar panels, and frankly they're ugly. Now, I don't hate solar panels, I don't hate wind turbines or anything on principle, but I do hate how we have implemented them. And how exactly we have implemented them is how we've implemented a lot of things within our society. Is we've done it according to certain goals we've created, like saving the environment or whatever. And then our method has been, how do we achieve that as efficiently as possible? And we look at it in a like missing the forest for the trees sort of way. So how do we make this one wind turbine design super efficient, extract as much energy per unit as we can, and then just implement it on an industrial scale and centralized locations? That's also how our agriculture, how we've approached agriculture too. And I think that's the wrong approach. I think instead we should be thinking about how do we harmoniously interweave renewable energy into society on a bottom-up scale beautifully, rather than how do we do it top-down in centralized locations in the middle of nowhere with beauty not being a thought at all. So, and what do I think that looks like? So let's say for solar panels, you see some solar panels on some roofs. I'm looking at one right now, but I don't want to dox the people. But most people do not have solar panels on their roofs. And, like we've done a pretty good job about incentivizing them with tax breaks and whatnot. But, clearly we haven't done enough. And, they just aren't quite cheap enough that, they're as ubiquitous as vacuums or dishwashers or whatever. And then as for wind turbines, wind turbines are very ugly. Like they're gray, they're tall, they look industrial and dystopian. And it's funny because we've already figured this out a very long time ago with the Dutch windmill. Now, Dutch windmills are something completely different. People see Dutch windmills and like there are many people who would go on vacation to the Netherlands just to see the Dutch windmills, just to see the tulip fields and all of that. And, paintings have been made of Dutch windmills. If we could use modern wind turbine technology to create like a Dutch windmill that is as beautiful as one and functionally is one, but has modern technology and generates electricity, those could be implemented all over the place, and people would be happy to do so. It would not be controversial or anything like that. And on top of that, you could mix functions too. Like you could have a Dutch windmill style house in a neighborhood that's generating electricity, and that acts as housing, and then it also acts as energy production. And the reason why I'm a big proponent of bottom up as opposed to top down is because a bottom up can be scaled far more to a much greater scale than top-down approaches. You know, like you imagine every neighborhood, 80% of households have solar panels, or there's, for every 100 houses, there's 10 or 15 houses that look like Dutch windmills that are generating electricity. It doesn't matter if they're less efficient. It doesn't matter that a Dutch windmill that is converted to generate electricity generates only like 10% the amount of electricity that a wind turbine creates. A traditional, or like a modern industrial wind turbine generates, because if it's actually implementable, if it's actually able to be propagated throughout society without resistance, and people love it, that actually, in a big picture sort of way, is more efficient. You know, and that's a very Roman philosophical way of looking at it, is true efficiency is not what can be done, what can be maximized in a per unit or per day sort of way. True efficiency is that which can be done every single day, all across society. You know, and that's also the secret of many ripped people, of many very athletic individuals with great physiques, is they don't have the utmost discipline per se, in that, you know, they can run 30 miles in a day and do 3 hours in the gym lifting weights. What they are great at is doing one thing that works, that just works every single day. Klaus Schwab, bring you down.